Let's take a look at all of the origins added by the Medieval Origins Revival mod. We're going to be starting off with the Alfiq. Overview: unarmed bonus, unique movement, carnivore, but lacking in defense. So their unique movement is the first we're going to go over. Number one, there is a toggleable ability which you can set in your keybinds for climbing. As you can see, I can just climb straight up the trees. If I also crouch, can you see there's like a little cat bar above my hunger bar? If I then go forward and jump, I can do a huge leap on a small cooldown. Cooldown's now off. I crouch to charge it. I uncrouch to uncharge it. So I can kind of crouch, but if I just jump, I will then leap forward. So let's do it one more time. I crouch, and then I leap forward. It's really, really cool. You will notice, however, I just took some fall damage when landing. But if we look straight at the ground, like that, we will not take any fall damage at all as an Alfiq. Unfortunately, we do less damage with swords and axes and weapons, but when unarmed, we do more damage. They also prefer light armor over heavier. We're also very quiet with our moving, meaning that things like skulks and that will not detect us. Creepers are scared of us and will only explode if you attack them first. We can also activate the Meow ability with G. We are, however, a carnivore, and therefore we cannot eat vegetables. One thing we can do is sneak, and then right-click, and we are able to actually pickpocket villagers sometimes. They obviously can catch us, however, and you may get some emeralds if doing so. One other thing is that if it's time, set, day, then we move a little bit slower. At noon, we move a bit slower. Hard to tell, really. But if it's morning or night, like as in like dawn or dusk, we will move a bit faster. The second one we'll be looking at today is the Arachnae. This is a kind of spider humanoid variant, shall we say? Poison, crowd control, wall climbing, carnival, hunger, armor. Let's go through it. So, as an Arachnae, we can climb walls, as you can see here, just like the previous one. If I press V for vanilla, as you can see, the world is getting a little bit lighter and darker. At night time, this looks more like this. So it's a night vision that isn't too impairing. It's actually really, really nice. Now, when the Arachnae attack, they can actually put poison onto their enemies. What else they could do when they attack is, let's use a creeper as an example. We can use V. Not V, sorry, no. Oh my god, oh no. No, V's the night vision. We can use G to actually immobilize our enemies in a web. And that will have a fairly long cooldown, as you can see, and won't last forever. But we can poison them, or at least there's a chance to poison them when. And when we attack as well, you'll see that second cooldown, that's actually a second web. So we can throw a web by pressing G, but we can also... It's a daytime, so that we don't have these issues. So we can actually have a chance to in-web our enemies when just attacking them, but also when we actually want to with the button G. Now, unfortunately, the Arachnae need a lot of food. Meat is all they can eat, and they need a lot of it. Armor heavy and iron is also a no-no, and you may see down on the left that we have a little bit less health than everyone else. This is the Banshee. Basically, you have flight, you can be a bit of a support role, and you can phase through solid objects. You do lack a bit in defense, and there are extreme changes to this origin, so it's not for the faint-hearted. As you can see, the impact is high. Banshees are anguished spirits whose cries can shatter glass and drive people into madness. In myth, their presence is often considered an omen of death. Well, isn't that lovely? So as you can see here, the first one we have is Spectral. Basically, using the keybinds that you have set with our active ability, we can move through things. But you cannot use this at low hunger because it takes so much energy. So if I press V, as you can see... Oh, I wish you could hear this. This is crazy! Oh my god! You can actually like kind of fly through stuff, and you can also literally fly. It also literally screams in your headset like a Banshee, which isn't on this video, but let me tell you, it's actually horrific. And what you can see above the hunger bar there is the cooldown for that ability. With G, or whatever you've keybound it as, we can actually also let out an ear-splitting wail, pushing back nearby entities and summoning a small protective circle. targets hit directly by the shriek will be disoriented. Let's use it on this poor little fox over here, shall we? Because we're nasty. So as you can see, oh my god! Yeah, so you're now going to have no eardrums after using that ability as well. But as you can see there, it literally lets out all kinds of chaos. We also have a lot less health as a Banshee, as you can see on the left-hand side there as well. That's one thing to notice. We also restore no hunger from food. Their energy is only restored by direct moonlight, but you cannot starve to death. So, kind of pros and cons of that one regarding food. Early game, I think this would be really nice, as you can obviously fly and get around the map a bit easier, or get through caves, etc. by going through walls, but I guess you could get stuck if the ability actually runs out when you're here. And not having food, again, that can be a bit of a pro and con, especially early game if you don't have a shelter and you're out at night without food. Running away from mobs, actually, you'd be full on hunger. We do have Demeritium shackles. Magically suppressive metals such as iron or silver are completely intolerable to Banshees, and therefore you won't be able to wear them. Every time you are hit, there's a small chance that the attacker will be consigned to a fate of slow, agonizing death as well. As you can see here, we have half the health of a normal living person. I've already shown you that. And we deal increased damage when wielding a cursed weapon. So, very unusual. We actually want to use cursed weapons, unlike most people. We also have Cursed Ward, where we resist additional damage from each piece of cursed armor worn. So again, you don't want to go with iron or silver, but you do actually want to wear cursed armor. And that is the Banshee origin. As you can see, I'm a little bit see-through as well, because I am a Banshee. You may be wondering why I'm so little and it looks like I'm drunk. Well, that's because I'm a dwarf. This is going to have a medium impact in your gameplay. The dwarf origin likes mining, caving, is very short, as you can see, at just 3'7", sun sensitive and can't swim. Oh, it's not easy, those little limbs, is it? So, dwarves are practical, stocky and prideful. They excel at mining and living underground, but struggle with the daylight, rock and stone, brother. Saying or whatever. So, dwarven tech. They can mine stone without a pickaxe and mine anything faster than others. As you can see, without a tool, going through stone, honestly, is still a little bit slow in my opinion. Going through dirt, however, is very, very fast. I mean, it's fast anyway, right? But we are going to get nausea, etc. when we're outside. So you also can't see outside, but as you'll notice when I'm underground, suddenly I can see very well. They're really, really short and will fit into a 1 meter small tunnel. So I can sort of tunnel across through here into this stone, and I can go through it. So mining in small gaps is going to be really, really good if you're a dwarf. With the V button, or however you've keybound it, we can focus to see clearly without needing a light source. So I press V, and this is how dark it usually is, and I press V again. It enables your, basically, what's it called? Night vision. They are also, like we've kind of discussed, a bit of a darkness dweller. Direct sunlight will burn dwarven eyes, blinding them. Preventable with an enchant or a gold helmet, so pretty easy to get around that. They are extremely heavy for their size, and they sink rapidly in water. We also have Potent Brew, which you can activate with G. Dwarves are notorious for their powerful drinks, which would knock out someone twice their size. Activate to take a swig and fully restore your health. Let's have a look at that. As you can see, the cooldown on it is quite slow, maybe about a minute by the look of it on that cooldown above my hunger bar. But that's pretty much it for dwarves. Put your golden helmet on, and honestly, there's not many downsides to choosing this origin. I'm very small, I'm very yellow, or a bit green, and I'm very fast. What am I? I'm a goblin. Gold gear bonuses, luck and speed, super small, lacking health and defense. Goblins are obsessed with gold and treasure and tend to find a little more loot whenever they look, but their small size leaves them vulnerable in combat. So if you are wearing or using golden gear, you are going to get luck. And I think this will actually scale with things like looter, so in adventure packs and that's going to be really, really good. It also says that gold in a goblin's hands lasts for much longer than most others who are careless of it, meaning that you're going to get higher durability with the gear you use if it's gold. At least I think that's what this one actually means. It's one of the few that I'm not 100% sure on. Again, they have cunning, which basically just gives us more loot. Although short, they are quite fast, allowing us to outrun. So what you'll see here is that we have half the height and a lot less health than humans, and we are a bit green. But like this creeper coming here, you'll see I am insanely fast, but our health is really, really low. Now, this can work obviously for or against you. I can jump very quickly as well, and getting up 1 block height doesn't seem to be an issue. So I would say early game exploration, goblins could be a really good choice, especially if you don't have much use for gold and you want to save your iron for other items in the game early on. Oh, I've got an arrow sticking out of me. For this origin, you'll notice I have weakness, mining fatigue, and slowness. I cannot move, and that is because I am a Gorgon. Now, Gorgons have some very unique weaknesses, including being a hydrophobe, meaning they will be hurt if they go into water. One of the other things here is that they are doomed to stay bound in the dark caves and old dungeons. Being outside in daylight causes them to become petrified until night. Can be negated, however, by wearing a helmet. We're also weak to silver. Cannot stand to wear it and take damage when wielding it, and iron is also counted as silver, so be careful of that. We are, however, immune to poison and have a chance to spill their toxic blood onto nearby enemies when hit, poisoning them. So basically, you can poison enemies when they hit you as a kind of Thorns effect. We're scared of water. We deal massively increased health more damage when at low health. And then, of course, we have Petrifying Gaze, turning them to stone briefly, but doesn't work on bosses, and that is bound with your active ability key. So if I spawn this skeleton here and use G on it, as you can see, they are stuck in place, and that is my Petrifying Gaze. Apart from that, that's pretty much it for the Gorgons. As you can see, we have a lot of weaknesses, so it's a very difficult origin to have, as you can really only go out at night unless you're wearing a helmet. You can't go in the water, and you only do a lot more damage when at low health, which is obviously quite risky anyway, and you become a bit of a glass cannon at that point. So, not one I'd really recommend to play. High Elf is probably one of the coolest fire-wielding origins there are. They have magic and unique abilities, but don't do well against physical damage and have low defences. Notoriously arrogant, though undeniably talented. Elemental magics course strongly through their blood, though they are weaker with weaponry, but you don't need it as a high elf. Number 1, draw essence. Basically, using coal in either hand or using blaze powder will shoot a moderate or weak with coal, moderate with blaze powder, fire spell in front of you. And you've got all different spells here, so let's have a look at that. So with coal, we press G, and we shoot out one like this. With blaze powder, it's an even bigger fiery explosion. And this is basically on an unlimited usage. As you can see, there's a very short cooldown on here. Coal is basically instant. It's like a 1 second cooldown, and you can use it as much as you like, which is really, really cool. Getting access to magic as soon as you find coal in the game. If we use a block of ice, we can walk basically on water. Extrusive movement, hold obsidian to channel the flow of heat and walk freely on lava. Right-click a villager with a golden apple to directly channel its healing without needing to weaken them, so basically curing them of disease and zombie villagers. Void warp, press G while holding an ender pearl to rip through the fabric of reality and teleport yourself directly where you're looking at, up to 50 blocks away. And remember, I said ender pearl, not Eye of Ender, meaning I can just press G while looking over here, and suddenly we've been teleported. And I can just press it again. No, there is a small cooldown, as you can see, but it's only about 5 to 10 seconds. These work well with other mods as well, as they will scale with things like fire and things like that. If you're holding Dragon's Breath, for example, the last thing we can do here is you actually hear a dragon roar, and we can throw out, a dragon kind of breath attack, which is absolutely incredible. And like I said, these do scale. For instance, the Dragon Breath, or Ebon Breath it's called, scales with Fire, Arcane, and Ender spell power. Like if you're using Iron spells and spellbooks, for example, you can use those. They deal more magic damage and take less magic damage than other races as well. However, they take more from physical damage and have a little bit less health. They're also taller than the average human, which make things a little bit annoying. But if I show you here, up against 2 block high, we're only a teeny tiny bit, so you only need to do like a free space. It's not like you're a towering giant, for example. And apart from that, we are slowed by wearing heavy armor, but it can be prevented with enchantments, and we have a little bit less health. But as you can see here, it's not by much. By looking at this, I can't even tell how many hearts we lose. Maybe it's 1 heart, not enough to make a huge difference considering how much magic power we gain by being a high elf. You might notice at this origin that I'm looking a little sunburnt. That's because I'm an Incubus, who reside in the Nether and are fire-based origin race. They are weakened by water and are weak in the overworld as well, however. Evil servants of a dark power, powerful in their own realm, but in exchange for this they have given up their soul and are weak to pure sources. They actually are very good at using fire, and as you can see, I can actually shoot fire out here without even using any items, unlike the High Elf, who needs to hold things like blaze powder or coal in order to do that. As an Incubus, I can just set my foes alight with a very short cooldown, very, very easily. Fire feels like home and deals no damage to us, woohoo! The bloodlust is also insatiable, however. If it isn't flesh of an animal, it's worthless, and they are a carnivore. Unholy deal! An Incubus can exchange some of their life force for raw power for a short time, and we're going to use G for that. Now, as you'll see, it's not working. I think we need to be at full health in order to do that, but basically you'll do more damage when you swap your health force for power. Water on contact will damage us, and we take extra damage from smite and reverted effects from healing and harming. We're not accustomed to dimensions where the sun shines, and therefore we're weaker, but are considerably stronger in the Nether. And our natural spawn will also be in the Nether. So, nothing too crazy with the Incubi. They can survive in the overworld, so it's not too bad, and we do get an unlimited use of this really cool fire spell, meaning that it could be a pretty good early game one, especially if in your mod pack a lot of Nether exploration is needed. Pale blue skin, a little bit see-through, we must be a moon elf. The benefits and cons to this origin are a bit interesting. Daggers damage, dexterous, stealthy, doesn't sleep, and has less defense. Number 1, we do more damage with daggers and knives. That's just wonderful. In the dark, we can actually turn invisible by sneaking, and then when we sneak up on people, we can actually do a bit more damage. As you can see, when I sneak, I am literally invisible. And you probably can't hear it on here, but you could have a heartbeat sound. And we can kind of just go like this, and we can go around invisibly. Can you see that that bar is counting down? So when that comes out, we then are no longer invisible. So you cannot use it forever, and your invisibility will need to recharge. If you attack a mob and come out of invisibility while attacking a mob, you will deal more damage on that first attack. Speaking of nighttime, however, we cannot sleep, which could be annoying, at least not in the overworld. We have a blue skin, which doesn't really do anything. Apart from that, it's all kind of downhill from here. So I don't think this is a great origin to play, personally. We can't wear heavy armor, or we can at least, but it slows us down. Who wants that? We can actually have a chance to dodge attacks. Just literally whenever you get hit, there's a chance that you will negate that damage. However, again, I don't think it's really very good because we're actually fragile, take increased damage, and have reduced health anyway. So it kind of offsets itself with this one called Fragile. And then apart from that, we're just taller than everyone else, just like the other elves in the mod pack, or the mod. So yeah, I don't really see that as a benefit either. We're easier to hit, we can't get through the same spaces as everyone else. It's really not a great one to play. We do look fully whole at night time, or we look a little bit more whole. In daytime, it's more obvious that we are a little bit see-through and translucent, however. And that's a moon elf for you. Not really that exciting. Origin. Opinion. This origin is a big, lumbering ogre. As you can see, I'm basically 3 blocks tall, which is absolutely massive. And I'm holding an axe. That's because ogres love axes and we do more damage with them. There is some minuses though. Hunger and speed. We do have more defense. We're absolutely massive. So, gargantuan, as you can see, we're huge. We do have a cool ability called Bloodlust, where basically we fly into a blinding rage where they can stomp through a horde of foes quickly but can barely make out what's going on around them. As you can see, half my health goes, and I literally go into a Bloodlust when using this ability. But it does a lot of damage. Like I said, we're happy with axes and do more damage with them. We don't care what food we put in. They do not experience poison or hunger. So that's a big positive there. We are stocky, meaning we can take a lot more hits than others. You can see on the left here, we have an insane amount of health compared to other origins. However, even though we can actually eat whatever we want, we are absolutely ravenous and have to eat constantly. Just standing here filming this video, I've already lost 2 bars of hunger. Apart from that, we are a bit sluggish because we've eaten so much. Ogres are slower than most to conserve some of their massive energy despite... Oh my god, let's start again. As we can see, we're very slow because we're trying to conserve energy due to our huge size. As you can see here, I can't even step up into here, but when I do jump, it's also quite heavy and it doesn't feel, it feels like gravity is really against us and I can't jump really high even though I'm massive. So apart from the huge amounts of damage and health we can do, ogres aren't really great. But possibly one of the smallest origins in this mod, and very, very fast, and maybe even the fastest, we have the Pixie. Unique flight, and are quite odd. Very, very small. But they don't have much defense, and don't have a good reputation. One of the things we could do as a Pixie is we have On the Dusts. Whenever you see this, it means that we have different things we could do. 1. Pixie jumps are 2 blocks high. They can also fly, which uses up flight power, and only regenerates when you're back on the ground. We can also hover. Quickly press space twice to begin hovering, a slower creative flight, and again that will drain your flight power. I will show you all this in a second. We can then press space in the air to glide, using our wings, which will not use flight power. We can press B twice to dash forward. This uses 50 flight power if gliding and 25 otherwise. Dash up. Quickly press B, then space to dash forward. Press X while sneaking to disable the particle effects. And then we have an explanation. Consuming dragon breath or glow berries will actually restore our flight power. So let's see it in action. So you can see I'm very fast. And when I jump, I do it again and I glide down. I can sort of dash. It's almost like you can see here, like it's almost like a very, very cool sprint. And things like that. So it's all very, very cool. But what else do we have as a Pixie? We're feather-footed, meaning we don't take any fall damage. We can also sit on top of another player's head by right-clicking them with empty hands. That's interesting. Good fortunes. Though we are troublesome, they're associated with good luck. When mining, we occasionally will get some ores from plain stone. Another ability, Mischief Maketh Man, we're capable of performing numerous mischievous acts, which, if not always dangerous, are certainly loud. Which, like you can see here, was an explosion, for example, and then we actually have regeneration. You can see here that I can't use it again until that bar above my hunger refills up, and that's the cooldown for the ability. Lastly, we have Troublemaker. Villagers know Pixies by legends of trouble they cause and will refuse to trade with them. So if you're in a mod pack where you want to do lots of trading with villagers, do watch out for that. But that is Pixies. Probably one of the most interesting origins there is. Plague Victim. It's not easy. Withering, unique playstyle, you're undead, but you don't have good defense and you don't have a good reputation. And it is difficult to play. They're just putting that straight out there. Disease-ridden half-dead creatures who can no longer be called human, cursed and trapped in eternal suffering as a result of a strange magical illness. The unfortunate thing about them is they have a foul aura. A horrifying magic swarms the victim, slowly consuming the life of anything nearby. So, let's see. As you can see, this poor pig here is going to be, every now and then, it gets these little bubbles near it. There you go. I'm not doing anything. It literally is just taking damage by being near me because of my foul aura. We also have plague immunity, meaning that we're immune to poison and wither, because we've already got it, haven't we? We're a plague victim. Contagious Hex. Every time you strike, there's a chance to spread the infection. So, there's a chance that we could actually spread that even worse and do more damage and poison our enemies. Now, of course, we do have Contagious. This is where the reputation debuff comes in. The Plagued are a horrifying sight, and villagers will refuse to trade with them out of fear. And I don't blame them. Sleep is impossible because you are literally in unending agony. Oh, God, again, it is not easy. You have sensitive skin because we're covered in welts and lesions. Its victims cannot wear armor. So, yeah, we can't wear armor. So that's a massive negative. This is really awful. This is like hard mode. Skin and bones, you have reduced health and speed. Speed is not too bad, and nor is the health. As you can see, this is me sprinting, and this is me normally. So it's slow enough that it's annoying, but not so slow that you're like, oh my god, I'm never going to get anywhere. And the health as well. You have a little bit less health, but not crazy amounts lost. Lastly, eternal suffering. Once every 5 minutes, upon death, the plagued are instead forcibly kept alive to prolong their torment, which is the one good thing about this origin. But overall, it is evil, it's horrific, and I don't know who the hell would want to play it. The Revenant is a really interesting and probably one of the coolest origins you can choose. Summons, illager-friendly, undead and complex. Villagers don't like him, that's what minus reputation means, and living interactions. Revenants are misfortunate souls who die gruesome and painful deaths, but inexplicably returned to life. As a result, they become obsessed with manipulating life and death in other creatures. So we've got quite a few abilities here. Summon with G while holding the items listed with the other badges. Okay, so skeleton, you need to have 4 bones in your main hand, skeleton horse, a saddle and bones, with a skeleton, zombies, zombie horses, and you can sustain up to 5 combat summons at a time. Okay, so let's try it out with 4 bones. Boom, 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 boom. And I hold that, and boom! I've used 4 bones to make a skeleton accomplice. And that will last for 10 minutes, which is really, really cool. They can reconstruct creatures of the night, modified to their own bidding. These act as pets, will follow and teleport, and can be equipped with weapons or armor. Zombies cannot use bows. Hover the badges for details like we've done. Command undead. So then when it goes to it, we can press B to cycle between our commands for our summons to sit, follow, or teleport to us. So if I press B, halt, they're now just standing still. They are now following me. And then you can also teleport them to you as well, which is really cool. Some of these keybinds may not be set by default, of course. Putrid communication. It's just so funny. Besides bones of rotten flesh, eating certain monster heads can quickly charge this resource more quickly. Through the unsettling act of consuming the flesh and bones of the undead, you can empower the next summon of the same type. Combat creatures extend their duration, making them permanent at max power. Wow, that's really cool. Undead steeds enhance their attributes at max. We also have Reaper's Ward. At will, you can raise a circle of inert skeletons, acting as a temporary shield. And that's going to be with V. This is going to be cool. Whoa! Look at that. That is insane. That is actually... I think that's the coolest thing I've seen so far. We also have Essence Extraction. Hit a living creature to drain its life force, damage scales of accumulated resource, soul, and blood power, etc. When hit, Revenants slowly build a power which allows them to siphon life from their enemies. Another thing we have is Necrotic Curse, where you're immune to Wither, and like Undead, they take extra damage from Smite, receive inverted effects from harming, and healing effects, and are immune to poison and regen effects. Lastly, actually there's quite a few more. Villagers refuse to trade us, and Iron Golems will attack on sight, but Pillagers will actually tolerate you. It says tenuously, so I think they will attack back is what that's saying. You've got a black thumb as well. You need to clean those hands. You cannot harvest any crops, and they wilt at their deathly touch. Understandable, but not looking good. Experimenting in the forbidden warps the mind. They cannot sleep. Too scared to dream of what they wish they did not know. So, not too bad there, I guess. Who cares? Obsessing over the spirit realm leaves Revenants more open to attack in the physical realm. Most mobs deal more damage to them. But considering you've got all these things that you can summon, they are really, really tough origins to be. This watery witch is the Siren. Water-based, utility, weaker on land, and vulnerable to fire. Number 1. In the sea or the water, we can see perfectly, and we can swim at increased speeds, and we can also breathe underwater. It's actually better visuals than we have outside the water, especially in rain. We also have Siren's Song, which is an active ability we can use. We can activate to overwhelm enemies in a large area, preventing them from harming you for a short time. And this has a bit of a bubble around it. As you can see, they all have little love hearts around them, meaning they are friendly and are, well, not going to harm us. It also plays a beautiful song in your headset. Holy Water. They have much more quickly regenerating bodies, but only while fully submerged underwater. While on land, they can only heal or regenerate using potions. Flammable, sirens and fire do not mix. Any contact flame will result in near instant death. When underwater, you do not sink to the ground unless you want to, which is also really nice. And lastly, we have another ability called Captivating, where you gain favour with a villager and get better trades from them. That's pretty much it. The love heart you see above my health bar is the trading cooldown. And then the Siren song is the blue one. But that's about it for Sirens. Really nice if you want to be underwater, but they don't have anything too crazy outside of that. As you can already tell, just by looking at me and my huge wings, the Valkyrie is one of the coolest origins in the mod. So, healing, feathered wings, weak to undead. Fearless winged warriors who decide the fate of those in battle. They were said to have carried the dead to Odin's Valhalla. Feathered, massive white feathered wings, and can fly freely. Now, I say that, it is quite good, as you can see here. Wow, actually, it's really cool. But it's better than an Elytra, but it's not creative flight. Divine Smite, every third attack, smite nearby foes, damage scales of healing and holy spell power. Nearby undead mobs weaken and slow you, and their attacks deal more damage to you. Vanquisher, upon slaying an undead mob, trigger Divine Smite and slightly reduce the effects of corruption for each slain. You lose half of those stacks on death, however. Another ability we have is leap upward into the air or dash forward if already flying, gaining fall immunity until you land, and that's with G, so you see, wow. So you basically leap up in the air and then slam down doing a load of damage, which is cool. Nearby undead mobs weaken and slow you, and their attacks deal more damage to you, which is strange. Oh, sorry, we've been through that one already. Upon landing, strike the ground holy energy, which we've just seen, cleansing negative effects from nearby allies, and also healing them as well, which is amazing. They're going to be really good healers. If you play a mod pack where you want to be a healer, the Valkyrie is going to be an amazing idea for you. They also have innately more healing and holy spell power, and are more potent with lance and spear-like. Wood elves. They're good with ranged weapons, they're fast, they're stealthy, but they are vegetarians. Low melee damage and defense, however. So, what can we do? Well, they're a natural archer, meaning that bows do more damage. Pretty simple there. While in tall shrubbery or leaves, wood elves can crouch to gain night vision and become undetectable to nearby mobs. Honestly, not very exciting. But let's see what else we've got. Focus, after charging for a few seconds, release an arrow at an increased velocity, piercing enemies, flying further, and dealing more damage, so basically just better bows again. Eagle-eyed, we can track an enemy for a short time after damaging them, even when they aren't in view. If we take a camel, for example, when I hit it, it's highlighted so that you can always track it for a small amount of time, and that's what that ability here does, is we always see that enemy. Towering, we're slightly taller than the average human, but looking at these two blocks, I mean, not really by a large margin. We also have Steward. We live off an inharmony of the forest, and we cannot digest meat. Elegant, they're slowed by wearing heavy armor, so you might want to wear something like leather. And they are not as powerful, but they are quick. Your attacks deal reduced damage, but are slightly faster. So a quick, stealthy kind of build would be really good, depending again on the mod pack you are playing. The last, not least, of this mod is going to be the Yeti origin. Frost-based, tanky, massive, but heat-sensitive. We have an ability here called Frigid Pulse. Yeti can entomb nearby foes in ice on command, but doesn't work in the Nether or on bosses. Let's use this on some pigs, shall we? Love it. Wow, that is literally entombed. So what else do we have here? From whence you came in icy biomes, you move faster and negate fall damage. Pretty nice there. Frosty Breath of the Yeti slows any opponents that get close to them, so they're automatically slowed when nearby. Titanic, you have a lot more health. You can see there, oh my goodness. We've got nearly double the amount. For that ability I used, by the way, the cooldown is above the health as always of this mod. What else do we have? Unstoppable, we're immune to slowness. Winter body, we are marginally taller than regular human, but significantly wider. Let's have a look at that in a second. Yetis are susceptible to fire damage due to their wintry nature, so fire damage will do more damage to you. In deserts, thick fur becomes a curse. It will slow your movement and reduce health. We don't look that much thicker, a little bit, but it's nothing too crazy. Overall, Yetis are nice if you're going through a lot of icy biomes, but overall, they don't add too much benefit compared to some of the other origins available. Thanks for watching, and if you're looking for other mod guides, check out the channel as I have a shelf for tech mods, magic mods, utility mods, exploration mods, and mod pack guides. I have covered hundreds upon hundreds of mods on this channel, uploading daily. If you actually want to join, by the way, you can play alongside me. I live stream every week, and if you join our Discord, we have a ton of free-to-play modded Minecraft servers for you to choose from, ran by me and my team of staff like clockwork. They're the smoothest servers you'll often find, and our staff are there to help you whenever you may need it. Looking for your own server maybe? Well, you can also check out the link in the description for my G-Portal partnership where you can get 10% off your own Minecraft server.